And then, moving ahead a couple of years when it comes to Nickelback, the interesting thing with Nickelback is, of course, they're from Hanna, Alberta, which is like 2 hours up the road from where I am in Calgary. And I always thought that was interesting how, they made it so big from such a small town. So, what was the story with your relationship with them?
Oh, okay. So one day I got a call, or it was an email from somebody from Canada. Her name is Barbara Seedman. And Barbara and I Barbara was a colleague of mine at EMI Music in Toronto. She was in the Toronto office at the time. And she, of course, when we did work together, me being in LA, her in Toronto, etc., she knew what I had done with Filter and STP, etc. So she apparently had a business relationship, with somebody at Roadrunner, and um, she emailed me, said, "Look, I know this guy at Roadrunner. Apparently, the label's trying to get into signing commercial rock bands, and of course, Roadrunner is a metal label." And she said, "Well, since you have a track record when it comes to rock and all that, maybe you can help this guy because he apparently he's looking for help." And so he said, so she gave me his info, and his name is Ron Berman. And so I contacted Ron, and I said, you basically reiterated everything Barbara had told me, and I said, "Look, I'll find you your band. It can take time. My standards are high. I'm very focused on songs. If this is a commercial radio rock band, you have to be sure. You got to get it right." And he said, "Yeah, great. If you can help me, wonderful." Again, editing this, it was a long there was a long period of time where I actually began to look for an act for Roadrunner. When I talked to Ron, it wasn't it wasn't the right time, apparently. I don't know what was behind all that, but many months went by until he said, "Okay, yeah, I need help. Start sending me things." So fast forward about I'm going this is about a year and a half after Ron and I had connected. I got a job at a company. They're long gone, but they're affiliated with BMG, and it was a hybrid company, management and A&R, et cetera, all sorts of things. And I got a job there, and one of the things that I was, I guess, allowed to do is to find talent for the publishing arm. And I thought, okay, I really better step up my game because I wasn't finding anything. And so that was when I really started to like pick up the phone and start calling my contacts and really making it a priority because I didn't want to miss the opportunity. And one of the people that I uh, contacted was Jonathan Simpkin. Jonathan Simpkin is an attorney in Canada, and I knew him because I tried to get Len a record deal with Discovery Records in LA. Discovery was a Warner Music label. So I knew Jonathan, and I called him and I said, "Hey, here's what I'm doing, publishing records. Here's what's going on." And he said, "Great, I'll I'll start sending you stuff." And he did. Like within a week, I started getting things. I would say the first, I don't know, two, three, four things weren't really just, just didn't meet the standard, so to speak. But then, like, I don't know, a month in comes Burn of the State. Never heard of Nickelback, but I listened to it and I thought, these guys will do very well in America, especially in the Midwest and the South. So I contacted Ron and I told him, and he said, "Great, send it to me." And again, there's a whole long story to this, but if you want the details, I'll give them to you. And there was some hesitancy on the label initially to sign the band, but eventually they they Ron went out and saw them, liked them, got along with them, et cetera, et cetera. And long story short, they ended up signing them.
Hmm.
And that was kind of how it was. I was hired really as more of like an independent A&R. So I wasn't like the A&R guy. I wasn't picking producers. Ron did reach out to me for producers for Silver Side Up, oddly enough, but that's a different story. And it's a couple years later. But I was just basically, I was the headhunter. I was like, bring us something that we can go to radio with,
Right.
and that's what I did.